Hey y'all, it's the Right Lane Cowboy coming to you with a doozy. Not necessarily a milepost musing, but it's a story. A couple of them actually. So I'm back there in Alabama. Let's see here, what, 2 days ago I think it was, and this guy has my brain just spun up for 2 days now. I stopped at a truck stop for a 30-minute break, getting some fuel and whatnot, and I saw some roach coaches off to the side, stacked up on the side of the parking lot, and they were smelling good. Now, I love roach coaches, the food trucks. They have some really good, really good food. And the closer to the southern border you get, it doesn't matter, from Florida all the way over to California, they're really good food. They just cook up some really good carne asada 6-inch street tacos, or 4-inch street tacos. Really, really amazing. Well, they're only $1.50 a piece, and a driver come up next to me, and he's like, "Are you going to get any of those?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, I'm a little cash poor." I said, "I'll get you 2 or 3, not a problem." So I went and got him 2 or 3 of them, and I got me 2 or 3 of them, and we sat down over a Coke, and they got these little picnic tables set up, little fold-up tables they got set up, and we're sitting there eating them and having a good old time. And remember one of the shorts I made that said, "Talk about food, and it'll bring it together"? Well, you know what brings people closer together, is sitting down and eating over food. Talking as they're eating food together. Man, we found out all kinds of stuff about each other, where we're from. He was from Washington, I'm from Oregon. Say that. I live in New Mexico, but I'm kind of born and raised up in Oregon, But anyway, we found out a little bit about each other. Another guy came down, sat down. He got some street tacos, and we're sitting there munching on them. Well, there's me and the guy from Oregon, a couple white guys, and 2 or 3 black guys sat down, and then we got this one guy from India. I think it was a Punjabi from Punjab, India. Good grief, there's that stinking. Just do that. Hey, that works. Anyway, I can still see out my mirror, so don't flip out over me. Anyway, we get to talking and over these street tacos. Every one of us is having street tacos. It's some of the best food in the world. Then one guy comes up. Oh my gosh, there's no words to describe this dude. Yeah. Well, I'll just describe him to you. What he was wearing. He had basketball shorts on, flip-flops, and tank top, and a backwards hat. And his hair was, just curly as all get out. Like he hadn't cut it in months and months and months. It was just boom out on his shoulders, And we're not talking shop. When you sit down and talk, when a bunch of truck drivers sit down and start talking, the last thing we want to talk about is driving trucks. Good God, that's what we do all the time. We don't want to talk about it. So this guy sat down, and sure enough, he starts talking like one of these rookie truck drivers. "Yeah, I hauled a load today." Well, yeah, of course you did. We all did. That's what we do. We haul loads. It's a big deal. But this cat said he went by Alabama Jack. I don't know how true that is. I go by Right Lane Cowboy. I got it on the outside of my truck on a sticker on the side of my driver door. So when people come by, they can say, "Hey, that's Right Lane Cowboy." They get on the horn, they get out here on the CB and holler for me. Well, this supposed Alabama Jack told everybody that he was hauling on a dedicated route 85 or he was at gross 85,000 pounds. I can't even say it without laughing. Pulling 55 miles an hour up 9% grades in Alabama. I just put my hand up. I said, "Hey, Jack." He goes, "That's Alabama Jack." I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, Alabama Jack? Let me stop you right there. What frickin' mountain range goes through Alabama?" I've been across that state 100 times or more. I've never seen a mountain range. I've never seen a 9% grade. I've never seen a 2% grade. 1.5% grade over the little hills in Alabama. Unreal. I couldn't believe it. I don't know why I'm yelling. It just got me excited, right? I was like, good God, dude. There's no reason to just come up with a bunch of stuff like that. Man, I'm sorry about that big old glare. Somebody put that big ball of fire up there in the sky a couple of 100 billion years ago. And here it is in my face. But anyway, I digress. Thanks, Bob. And he goes, well, there's plenty of big grades like that. I was like, no, there's absolutely not. You're talking to a bunch of seasoned truck drivers right here, and you're looking like a fool. Well, he backed down. And I said, you really go by Alabama Jack? He goes, well, that's kind of what I want to go by. I'm like, well, then get yourself a sticker. Maybe even get with the FCC and register your handle as Alabama Jack. But don't just come up to somebody willy-nilly and say, hey, Alabama Jack, Alabama. We don't even know who you are. Get yourself known out here on the road before that happens, And I can't even think of the dude's name that was he had a handle from Washington. And yep, I can't think of it. It was pretty catchy. I'm surprised I don't remember it. But anyway, he started talking, and he said, you know what? He goes, those stories would be really, really cool, but you can't make them up. You gotta come out here and get the experience, and in time, less than a year, you'll have 2 or 3 stories that you can tell people, but you don't have to make them up, because time will pass and you will make them up. And he sat down and he had some street tacos, and we started talking about street tacos. We stopped talking about shop and started talking about street tacos. And how to make them, and I gave him a couple of really good ideas. I said, well, hell, I got a what's that called? I got a George Foreman grill, a regular griddle, a microwave, a mean rice cooker. I got a little water boiler I can make coffee with. I said, you got to get a good thing on your truck, a good power inverter on your truck, so you can power all that stuff and make them. And he goes, man, I don't know where you guys find the time. I said, well, you got to take the time. You got to make the time for it. You got 10 hours off. So you got to make time. You got to plan this as you're driving. You got to plan on what you're going to have, what you're going to do, what you're going to make for food, and then how you're going to do it, and all the plan. When you get stopped, get busy and get her done. Don't just climb into bed and go to sleep. I mean, oftentimes I'll just climb in bed and go to sleep since I'm freaking tired. But I'll wake up in the morning and have something good. So he calmed down. He calmed down a bunch, and it was kind of nice to be able to educate the guy a little bit and tell him that you don't need to tell big fish stories as a truck driver, because there's really nothing more annoying to a seasoned truck driver than to hear somebody come in and spew a whole bunch of BS, a whole bunch of horse hockey, a bunch of freaking pig squirts. Whatever you want to call it, it's ridiculous. You don't need to say any of that stuff. And know what the heck you're talking about. This guy claimed there was a mountain range that went through Alabama. That blew my mind. I thought that was as funny as it gets right there. But I don't know. I guess to each their own. But just be truthful in the stories that you tell. There's no reason to embellish and make them up. Too much stuff that happens, it takes the place of a fake story. Good God! I mean, just today I've had. Let's see, I had a guy cut me off and brake check me. Big deal. I just reach over and hit my camera, and it starts recording, and I wave at him, and he gets on down the road. I used to let that stuff get on my nerves a bunch, but not anymore. And I was telling these guys this, it's like there's so many things that happen on the road. If we just slow down and take a breath and smell the 4-inch street tacos, so to speak, it'll be much more enjoyable out here. Anyway, I thought that'd be kind of funny, or kind of fun, or enjoyable to share with you guys, and say, hey, did you know there's a mountain range in Alabama? Because I didn't. And I didn't know that you could pull 85,000 pounds up a hill at 55 miles an hour. If he's 85,000 pounds, he's breaking the law anyway, If he went up at 55, dang on. What did he come down at? So Anyway, I'm going to keep it on the road, and I'm going to keep an eye out for them big Alabama mountain ranges. If I find one, I'll show you. I don't think there is one. Anyway, maybe proof that the world's flat. I don't know. That's another thing to talk about, huh? Y'all have a good one. Thanks for watching.